guess we'll jump right into it. Thanks so much for being with us today. I understand that in your book you wrote in 2002, Reach, Finding Strength and Spirit in Personal Power, you wrote that you at times had felt isolated because of your parents' fame. But since then, obviously, you've had such a successful boxing career and have appeared on many television shows, and you're a health and wellness expert. How did you make that transition into having such a prolific public life? And was there some sort of shell you came out of, or?
As a child, growing up with my father being a global icon and getting attention everywhere we went, I didn't really know how to process all of that. I was an introvert. I was kind of shy, quiet, so I didn't really like all of the attention, per se. I wasn't comfortable with it. I learned very early that a lot of people want to be around you for their own personal gain. So as I got older, it was important to me to have friends that liked me for me, all those things. That's what I went through. And I never really wanted to have a public life. So when I saw women's boxing on television for the first time, I'm skipping a lot there, and I decided to go into it, that was one of the decisions that I faced. It was like, oh my God, I'll have to be a public person. I'd have to, people would know who I was. That was like totally against everything I always thought I wanted. So I had this inner conflict that I had to deal with. And then I just had to, think about it, meditate on it, pray about it, and then I came to the conclusion that I wanted to follow my heart, and I would deal with being a public person along the way. So, I live a really regular life. I don't have security. I don't have a bunch of assistants. I go to the grocery store. I pick my kids up from school, and I don't act like I'm better than anyone else or I'm above anyone else or that I'm a celebrity. So that makes it a lot easier. Because, once you kind of surround yourself with a bunch of people and you don't know how to deal with the public and just look people in the eye, right. Regular people, not just people who are celebrities, it just kind of changes things for you. So for me, like I said, that's how I've been able to deal with it, is keeping things as normal as possible.
Well, what kinds of challenges did you face in the way of doing that? Exactly what you just said, trying to keep things normal even though you were in such in the public sphere in that way?
I think that for me, I'd rather be unnoticed. Mm-hmm. So I'm that person that, if I have to go out or if I have to go somewhere, just in my day-to-day life, I'm going to be t-shirts, jeans, flip-flops. I'm going to try to go under the radar, put on caps and glasses, cap and sunglasses, and I'd rather not be recognized. When you come across someone who's a fan and they actually appreciate your body of work, so to speak, then that's different. But some people are just so into just celebrity. You look like somebody. Are you somebody? It's just like, how do you answer that question? It's like they just want to take a picture or get your autograph just because you're somebody. And it's just like, how do you put people on a pedestal and ask for autographs? Like, what does that do for you if you don't even know what I've done or who I am? Right. Whether you should respect me or not. So
yeah, I'm wondering how social media plays into this for you, because this course you're about to talk in Media for Social Responsibility is, of course, centered around that in large part. And I know that in past interviews you've talked about not necessarily participating in political discussions on social media. I was wondering if you could explain your stance on that and how you feel social media should be used as a platform.
I use social media to promote and expand things that are natural and authentic to me. Mm-hmm. So I don't have a lot of political conversations in private, so I wouldn't go and have it on social media. If I'm asked a question, then I'm a grown woman, I can answer it, But if it's not something I feel strongly about, I'm probably not going to go into too much detail about it. There's a lot of things going on in the world today I'm just still trying to figure out for myself. I don't have the answers to. Everyone's looking for an answer. Mm-hmm. What should we do? What should we do? I don't know what to do. So I don't like to be repetitive. I don't like to just say the same thing. If I don't feel like I have something important to say, then I just try not to do it. And then you have to be careful because people take your words, twist them. People get offended. But when it's something I feel strongly about, and I do want to speak my mind, I don't worry about if people are going to get offended or not. I just say what's on my mind. So.
What does energize you the most now? After having such a successful career, that must have been a rush. Like, what energizes you now?
Is professionally? Or
in your life now, I mean.
My kids energize me the most.
Yeah.
If I could, I would just be a stay-at-home mom and just bake cookies. But I probably start a cookie business because the entrepreneur in me, but that's what I would do. But I can't do that, I'm still on a quest to figure out what my mark is going to be on this earth. When your dad is Muhammad Ali, sometimes you think, like, God, what is the sum of my life going to be? It's like when I pass, like, what will be, my contribution? Not that I ever would expect it to be like his was, but my own contribution. So those are the things that I think about subconsciously and consciously. And then just fitness, health, wellness. I am very passionate about taking control of health. Meaning, let me explain that better. We have a big problem in the United States and around the world with diabetes and heart disease and people getting sick. And a lot of that comes from our lifestyle choices, the way they were eating. People are eating processed food, junk food, putting chemicals on their body, plugging them into their homes for the scent in the house. We got plastic bottles, we got all these things going on in our environment, and then we're getting sick and we're wondering why. So I like to try to teach people how they can take control of their health. There's a lot of things that we can prevent, some that we can't also. But, it makes me feel good knowing that I've done everything that I possibly can to make sure that, I'm taking control of my health, and I try to encourage others to do the same. So then I try to say, okay, well, how can, this is something I would do for free, that I'm passionate about, but how can I turn this into a business? And that's one of the things that I think about on a regular basis. So I've started the Laila Ali lifestyle brand, and I have a blog that has content on it. I'm in school for nutrition right now, taking an online course, which is a challenge in itself, finding the time. I'm always falling behind, but I'm like, this is my passion, I'm going to finish. But, I'm doing my first cookbook, things like that. And then I do use social media to kind of fuel all these other things and expand them because everyone's on social media now. I was against it at first. I was like, I'm not about to be tweeting and, going on Instagram. I don't have time for that. And then, like, brands actually build it into the contracts that I do with them, whether it be Colgate or how many times you're going to tweet. You need to tweet, you need to Facebook, you need this, and I have a schedule. So it's so important. So you kind of have to do it if you want to be successful.
Absolutely. And lastly, what kind of advice would you have for young women today? You're a mom now, and you were such a successful female athlete, and you've done all these things, but what would you say to a young woman just trying to make her way through coming of age right now?
I think it's so important for people to have confidence and have self-belief and not to worry about what others think, because a lot of times we hold ourselves back because we're concerned about what others are going to say, what others are going to think. Don't be afraid to be different, because there's a lot of images out there right now that I don't feel are positive, and a lot of people feel entitled and they want to take the easy route. It's like, oh, you can just be beautiful and have a great body, and then you can go get a basketball player, and you can become famous off of a reality show. There's a whole group of girls, unbelievably so, that believe that, like, oh, that's going to be my business model, and, use your mind, use your talent, find your talent, and I think that it just takes confidence, and you don't have to follow the crowd. Be a leader, not a follower, and take pride in that. And whatever you do, be a leader.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you. Appreciate it.